In yesterday's video, I talked about how China just hit a major AI breakthrough in which they took multiple data centers and trained a large model across them. This is really difficult to do because of the latency involved and the ingenious code you would need to write. Why was this important? What led to this point where China had to basically come up with this breakthrough? And the roots of this go back to 2022. When the US, in a ramp up of the trade war, ended up sanctioning China so that no tech company or chip company could sell expensive AI chips to China. Now, these chips, when I say they're expensive, they can cost like $27,000 a piece, and you need a lot of them, thousands and thousands of them to train something like a chat GPT. Now, you can imagine this is billions and billions of dollars of revenue for companies such as NVIDIA, AMD, and so on. Now, this led to an issue, number one, because China, it was trying to compete in AI field and was limited by these GPUs that they couldn't get access to. So a few things happened. NVIDIA created a lower tier or a slimmer GPU for them called the H20, which they could trade without violating sanctions. And similarly, President Xi Jinping put out directives saying that China must become self-sufficient in AI chips. So they started developing their own native capabilities. And that is where Huawei and companies such as Huawei come in. And they're developing their own native chips. And the most recent one, I think, is called A910C or A910C, which is supposed to be about as good as the most recent NVIDIA chips like H100s, which are, as I mentioned, like $27,000 a piece. But there's still an issue here that NVIDIA has the edge because NVIDIA has about millions and millions of developers that work on their within their ecosystem, which is called CUDA, C-U-D-A. But China doesn't have that, so they can't just switch to their native suppliers. Now, this is a temporary problem. I think this will be overcome within the next few years, maybe a year, 2 years, 3 years maybe, because developers can move there or expand into that chip and that infra and that ecosystem if it becomes more available. And these chips are also cheaper compared to H100s. So this is an interesting development that is happening on geopolitics and tech because the US is trying to contain China and China is rising. So we will see how this trade war plays out.